This is Plant-Based Briefing. Dairy cows are suffering from the very climate crisis factory farming helped create, by Nicole Axworthy at vegnews.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, and this is the curated content plant-based podcast where I narrate, with permission, a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. Today's article is from Veg News. They were launched in 2000, and they're the largest vegan media brand in the world. They have a best-selling plant-based magazine, and they have amazing content, from food and fashion to travel, celebrity interviews, all kinds of guides, so much information. Check them out at vegnews.com, and I highly recommend following them on social media as well. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. Dairy cows are suffering from the very climate crisis factory farming helped create, by Nicole Axworthy at vegnews.com. A new study suggests that climate change is having detrimental consequences on animals, including those raised for food. In a study published in Cabby Reviews, scientists have unveiled a comprehensive analysis of the effects climate change is having on animal welfare. The research, led by Edward Narayan, PhD, Senior Lecturer of Animal Science at the University of Queensland in Australia, highlights the multifaceted impact of climate change resulting in cascading effects across 5 critical animal welfare domains: nutrition, environment, behavior, physical health, and mental health. The study emphasizes the urgency of identifying immediate and future priorities to protect animals used for food as well as companion animals and those in conservation efforts in nature reserves and zoos. Animals who are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change include chickens and cows used for dairy, bats, zebrafish, stony creek frogs, koalas, and African elephants. Narayan and his team stress that while animals may respond differently to stress biologically, the 5 domains model offers a robust tool for researchers to evaluate the effects of climatic variability on animals. Their research provides a broad overview of the impact of climate change on animal welfare, drawing examples from diverse animal groups, including wildlife and domesticated species. How climate change impacts cows. It is no secret that the way food is produced around the world, particularly when it comes to animal agriculture, has a major impact on the environment. But one striking finding of the study is the negative impact of heat stress on cows exploited for dairy, which has resulted in a significant 35% reduction in milk production. Heat stress also affects the cow's lactation performance, immune function, and calf health. Another concerning revelation from the study is the adverse effect of warmer conditions on broiler chickens. Birds, especially mature broilers, struggle under hot conditions due to their limited capacity for heat regulation, which involves panting, limiting activity, and increased water intake. While the researchers suggest employing mitigation strategies such as monitoring animals' activity and rumination time, and using sunshades, sprinklers, and air conditioning units to keep the animals cool, experts have long questioned the use of animals for food, given the industry's significant contribution to the very problem of climate change. One recent study found that over the last 20 years, from 2000 to 2019, food-related greenhouse gas emissions increased by 14%, and animal-derived foods was responsible for 95% of these increased emissions, with beef and dairy accounting for 32% and 46% respectively. The cascading effects on wildlife. In addition to affecting farmed animals, the new animal welfare research also highlights that drought and resource scarcity contribute significantly to the mortality of elephants, particularly African elephants, as they require vast amounts of food and water daily. With more frequent and predictable droughts, the availability of water and vegetation declines, leading to elevated elephant mortality rates. The study also sheds light on the impact of climate change on marsupials like the koala, which experience increased energy expenditure to maintain body temperature and higher mean temperatures. The quality of their food sources is reduced due to climate change projections, posing a significant threat to their population. Even domestic animals such as cats and dogs are not immune to the effects of climate change. The study suggests that certain dog breeds are susceptible to heat stroke, and heat-related diseases are a leading cause of death in military working dogs. The increase in global temperature also impacts dog welfare, as 87% of human companions report exercising their dogs less during hot weather, leading to potential health issues and changes in the role of dogs in human society. Climate effects of animal agriculture. The study's findings emphasize the critical need for immediate action and informed policies to protect animals from the catastrophic consequences of climate change, However, when it comes to animal agriculture, a growing body of research shows that raising animals for food, be it meat, eggs, or milk, is much more environmentally damaging than growing plants. In fact, rising temperatures have disrupted industrial animal agriculture in other ways. Last year, for the first time in its 2,000-year history, a French dairy cheese company could no longer produce its cheese in France. That's because drought conditions brought on by the climate crisis made the production of this specific cheese impossible. Under its certificate of authenticity, Sailor's cheese must be produced from the milk of cows who graze on grass in the Auvergne region of France. And yet, the extraordinarily high summer temperatures have made green grass a scarcity in the region, making it impossible for most of the 76 farmers in the region to meet the requirements for making Sailor's cheese, which must contain at least 75% milk from cows who graze on local grass. Last year, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, released a report that warned that humanity is running out of time in halting the worst of climate change. The report advises that methane emissions, much of which come from animal agriculture, must be slashed by 1/3 by 2030 in order to save the planet. The report also urges governments around the world to focus on shifting consumption habits away from animal agriculture. "We are at a crossroads," IPCC Chair Ho-Sung Lee said in a statement. "The decisions we make now can secure a livable future. We have the tools and know-how required to limit warming." You just listened to "Dairy Cows Are Suffering from the Very Climate Crisis Factory Farming Helped Create" by Nicole Axworthy at vegnews.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. And I have a friend who, whenever there's news about heat domes or excessive heat, she shares that news with a caption, "What about the animals?" And it really is powerful because most of us don't think about it. Well, most of us vegans do, but most people don't think about the animals. But just imagine those broiler chickens stuffed by the tens of thousands in those sheds in oppressive heat, sweltering heat. And not just the dairy cows, but all the cows, all the farmed animals, even the wildlife who are struggling for all the reasons mentioned in the article. I have a number of other episodes on climate change, and a recent one that was interesting, episode 576, about why the media doesn't report on animal agriculture's impact on climate change. But if you're interested in other episodes, go to plantbasedbriefing.com, select episodes, and type in climate in the search field, and a ton of them will come up. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.